You do not defeat a narcissistic mask by shouting. You unmake it with a quiet decision that settles into your spine. If you have given too much, stayed too long, or bent yourself into shapes to keep someone calm, this is for you. Tonight, I will place one counterintuitive boundary sentence in your hands. When you speak it from your center, the performance loses its audience. The noise falls away. Your life returns to you. We will walk the alchemical path together from the blackening to the gold. You will feel the difference between naive empathy and discerning compassion. You will sense the moment your breath drops, your shoulders soften, and power returns without a scene. This is not about diagnoses or blame. It is about patterns, choices, and the dignity of your nervous system. It is about remembering that your attention is sacred and your availability is a gift. Before we go further, a clear vow. This is educational and not a diagnosis or therapy. If you are in an abusive or unsafe situation, seek professional and legal help. Your safety is non-negotiable, and your well-being matters more than any story about loyalty. If you are ready, bring your attention home. Unclench your jaw. Widen your chest by a finger's width. Let the present moment thicken like warm bread in your hands. Something in you is finished with crumbs. Something in you wants bread. A quiet decision is waiting. Tonight, you make it. A whisper of self-choice dissolves the loudest mask. Where have you mistaken self-abandonment for love? What would a quiet decision feel like in your body?
Empathy often begins as a quiet survival art. As a child, you learned to read the weather in other people's faces faster than they could speak. You tilted your attention outward, scanning for micro-changes in tone, posture, silence. It kept you safe, it won you belonging, and it taught your nervous system to feel for two. Jung would call the unseen part of this training the shadow, the unowned material we cannot yet look at in ourselves, so we track it in others. Projection is not an insult. It is a bridge our psyche builds to carry what feels too heavy. And then transference arrives, the old pattern searching for a new stage. A charming presence appears, and your body says, "Finally." But the warmth you feel may be recognition of familiar chemistry, not proof of present safety. There is a simple reframe. Empathy is a gift when rooted in self-contact, and a trap when it requires self-abandonment. Your task is not to stop feeling. It is to feel without leaving yourself. Keep an eye out for the dream sign that shows you are healing, a mirror in a night forest. At first, it reveals nothing. One night, you see your own face and keep walking. That moment matters more than approval. Empathy becomes wisdom when you feel for others without leaving yourself behind. Where did I learn to feel for two? And how do I return to one without closing my heart?
The encounter often begins like a spell. Someone arrives with a shine that feels like sunlight after a long winter. They mirror your values. Finish your sentences. Study your hurts with surgical attention. Fast intimacy creates a private bubble where you feel both seen and chosen. Then the pattern shifts by degrees. A joke that lands like a pinprick, a promise that dissolves when you ask for clarity. Blame slides across the table toward you, and you start explaining yourself as if the relationship were a courtroom. You work harder. You try to be more understanding, more flexible, more forgiving. The mask thrives on this performance. In Jung's language, the persona seduces and the shadow negotiates. Your generosity becomes the currency that buys temporary peace. You sense the confusion, but fear that naming it will shatter the warmth. This is not about diagnoses. It is about choreography. Charm, then confusion, then control. The more you rush to stabilize their mood, the more you lose access to your own. Yet, there is a precise moment when the mask will lose power, and it will not look dramatic. It will look like quiet clarity inside your body. Hold that question. We will name it soon. Empathy becomes a trap when it requires you to abandon reality. Where do I start explaining instead of observing? And what changes if I let silence tell me the truth?
Nigredo is the blackening, the moment the story you've been telling about this relationship dissolves in your hands. It begins with the ache of self-doubt. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe if I'm more patient, softer, smarter, this will work. You swallow misassigned responsibility like a bitter draught, and for a while it numbs you. The task is not to spit it back in rage. The task is to name it and let your body metabolize the truth. This weight is not mine to carry. In the descent, you become Persephone, not to die, but to learn the seasons of your soul. The wounded healer wakes, not to fix, but to tend. You stop auditioning for the role of savior. You sit with the urge to rescue until it passes through like weather. Your breath drops lower. Your shoulders soften. Dream images arrive to guide you. Stones turning into gems when left underground. A sea that glows from within when you stop trashing. You remember that your attention is sacred, and your availability is a gift you can choose to withdraw. What happens next decides whether you become stone or gold. When you stop carrying what isn't yours, truth cooks into clarity. When I feel the pull to fix, what fear is underneath, and how does my body tell me this weight isn't mine?
The turn is quieter than you expect. Gold does not arrive with trumpets. It arrives when your breath drops into your belly and you stop rushing to rescue. Naive empathy says, if I love harder, this will change. Discerning compassion says, I can care and still refuse the performance. You feel the difference in your body. Your jaw unclenches. Your shoulders lower. You speak reality once and then stop negotiating with denial. You let their discomfort belong to them. The compulsion to fix dissolves, and something steadier takes the wheel. This is the exact moment the mask loses power over you. Not a victory lap, not a dramatic speech. A quiet return to yourself, an inner click of alignment that does not ask for permission. Practically, it sounds like this. I hear you. I am not available for conversations that flip blame. When you are ready for mutual reality, I am here. Then, you honor your words with action. You pause the thread, end the call, or step away from the room. You neither argue nor plead. You hold warmth without surrendering your edge. The light you feel is not from their approval. It rises from inside like a sea that glows from within. That is compassion with a spine. Power returns the moment you stop repairing what is not yours and choose clarity over performance. What am I trying to earn that can only be given freely? And where does my body already whisper, enough?
Boundaries are not walls you use to punish. They are doors you learn to close with a steady hand. The risk after the turn is hardening into cynicism, mistaking clarity for contempt. When pain has been long, anger wants to crystallize, but gold stays warm. Think of boundaries as declarations of availability rather than verdicts about someone's character. I am not available for name-calling. If it starts, I will end the conversation. I am not available for blame-flipping. If it happens, I will step away until we can return to mutual reality. No courtroom, no diagnosis, just choices and consequences you can actually carry. Your tone matters. A boundary spoken with simmering rage invites a fight. A boundary spoken with calm authority ends the scene. Keep your heart open to truth, not to harm. The Phoenix teaches this. You rise without carrying ashes as proof. And still, safety leads. If there is intimidation, stalking, or financial control, you do not negotiate. You document, seek professional and legal support, and choose distance as protection, not revenge. You can be firm without being cruel, generous without being gullible. Let your yes mean yes, your no mean no, and your silence mean you are done explaining. Boundaries are warm clarity, firm edges without contempt, guided by safety and self-respect. Does my boundary language describe my choice rather than their flaws? And how will I keep my heart warm while my edges stay clear?
Integration begins when you stop asking for a different past and choose a different present. This is where we close the loop with a single sentence that is not an attack, but a sovereign choice. Say it slowly from the center of your body. I choose mutual reality. If that's not available, I'm not available. I'm stepping away now. You end the call, you walk out of the room. No courtroom, no counterattack. Just the closing of the theater where the mask once performed. Now the dream sign resolves. For weeks, the mirror in the night forest reflected nothing, or a stranger. Tonight, you see your own face and keep walking. That continuation is the proof. Your worth is no longer waiting for their gaze. Sometimes the dream shifts into stones, turning to gems. That is shadow material integrated, yours to steward, not to perform. Turn inward too, We all carry a small, frightened part that grasps for control when love feels scarce. Meet that inner narcissistic impulse with the same clarity. I choose mutual reality. No more performing for your critic, no more bargaining with your own abandonment. You can hold warmth and edge in the same breath. The quiet sentence closes the audience seats and returns you to your life. Your dreams confirm the shift as you keep walking with your own face intact. Where will I practice this sentence this week? And what does mutual reality ask of me inside myself as much as with others?
Coronation is not about ruling others. It is about taking up residence in your own life. Individuation means you cease being a performance and become a person. You stand where you once begged. You breathe where you once braced. You let your values sit in the chair while your voice catches up. The crown here is simple and earned. You can feel deeply without abandoning yourself, and you can love without becoming the stage for someone else's play. Speak this aloud and let it settle into your spine. I am a steward of my energy. I am not an audience for contempt. I choose mutual reality and warm edges. I welcome repair without begging for it. I honor my yes and my no. I keep my heart open to truth, not to harm. I carry the seasons of my own soul. This vow is not a performance, it is a practice. Some days you will stumble back into old choreography. That is not failure, that is weather. Return to the center, breath low, shoulders soft, eyes clear. Remember Persephone's wisdom and the phoenix's rise. You are allowed to turn toward people who meet you and away from patterns that devour you. Mission is not a grand gesture. Mission is how you answer small doors, with dignity, with clarity, with a calm no to what starves you, and a steady yes to what nourishes you. Your crown is a vow lived in ordinary moments. Warm heart, firm edges, reality first. What is my one sentence I am, and where will I place my first quiet decision today?
We are at the end of this walk, and the forest has thinned into morning. The loops are closed. You have the sentence that returns you to yourself. I choose mutual reality. If that's not available, I am not available. You know the dream sign that proves your healing. The mirror in the night woods no longer steals your face. You see yourself and keep walking. And you can name the exact moment the mask loses power. When your breath stays low, you stop repairing what is not yours, and you choose space instead of debate. This was never about winning. It was about waking. This teaching is educational, not a diagnosis or therapy. If you are in an abusive or unsafe situation, seek professional and legal help. Your safety is non-negotiable. If this served you, honor the shift with a simple gesture. Like this video so the signal carries. Subscribe if you want more calm, Jungian, myth-rooted guidance. Comment your one-sentence I am statement so others can borrow its steadiness. Share your dream image, mirror, sea, or ash. Check the resources in the description for boundary scripts, safety planning, and next steps for your practice. Then step back into your life with warm heart, firm edges, and a clear yes to what nourishes you. Walk with your own light. Let reality govern your availability. Which relationship needs mutual reality or space right now? And what small action will you take today to honor that truth?